Building a positive self-esteem. What is the first major step towards building a positive self-esteem? Well, first and foremost step towards building a positive self-esteem is the fact that you need to want to build one. You need to build a positive self-esteem because you wish to do the same. Not because you've been asked to, not because it's good to have a positive self-esteem, not because you have to. It's because you feel that you need to take charge of your life, your situations that you are in. A healthy self-esteem is like your armor. It's like your armor against the challenges of the world, the negative pressures. Kids with a healthy self-esteem, they tend to be more smiley, more chirpy, they're more realistic, and generally they're optimistic in their approach. They tend to enjoy life a lot more. Try and celebrate your achievements no matter how big or small they are. As far as you made it work or you achieved something, celebrate it. Make a big deal out of it. Celebrate it with your family, your loved ones, your near and dear ones. We all like to be appreciated for what we do, don't we? How will you get that appreciation unless and until you are vocal about what is it that you've achieved? Think of those times wherein your grades were good and you went back to your parents and you got a pat on your shoulder. Didn't that make you feel good about yourself? Or on the contrary, when your grades were really low and your teacher didn't give you a golden star on your report card, that made you feel bad about it? What I'm trying to say is that our sense of self-esteem does not build overnight. It goes on building right from our infancy till the time we're adults. And our parents, teachers, friends, coaches, mentors have a lot and have a big hand in developing our self-esteem. Focus on the things that you are talented in, no matter how small they are. You are talented in something, give yourself due credit for a certain task that you've done, better than somebody else. Celebrate these achievements. It'll make you feel good about yourself. That's the first milestone towards achieving a positive self-esteem. Low self-esteem. Let's look at what low self-esteem is. Say, I'm very harsh on myself. I put myself down all the time. If I'm very underconfident about anything and everything at all, be it at home, be it at work, right from cooking something to driving a car to scoring some grades. Surveys have shown that students, adolescents especially, tend to put a lot of importance on the grades they score. They feel that if they score low grades, they tend to be more underconfident about themselves. They give a lot of weightage to their academic performance for their self-esteem. Also, someone who might be a good scorer, if not appreciated at home, can also eventually become passive and withdrawn and aloof. Students with a low self-esteem are generally too harsh on themselves. They constantly blame themselves for anything and everything that's going on in their environment. Here I'm talking about negative situations specifically. Before we dwell into this a little more, I would like you to know what you mean by locus of control. Locus of control is basically a point. We all know what locus is. Locus is a point. Now, locus of control can be of two types, internal or external. People with an internal locus of control say the point or the locus of control is internal or within me. If I am more towards the internal locus of control side, basically I consider myself responsible for all the actions, for everything that's going on in my environment, good or bad, negative or positive. I take full responsibility and credit for it. That is internal locus of control. On the contrary, external locus of control, people with an external locus of control, that means the point or the locus is outside themselves or outside their body or within the environment, external. That means they never take charge or responsibility of actions or any responsibility of their actions or any situation that they're in. I'll give you an interesting example. Usually when students walk in late, I get to hear two sorts of excuses. One who will say, yeah ma'am, I'm sorry, I woke up late and I started late. That's how I got late. I apologize for the delay. That's That's internal locus of control. That means I'm taking responsibility for being late to work or to college or to class, and I've taken full responsibility for it. Someone with an external locus of control, on the contrary, would give me an excuse like, ma'am, there was so much traffic that I faced. I left in time, before time rather, but there was so much traffic that I got really late. I think it's the traffic, the traffic these days is really bad. So I constantly blame the situation that I was in without taking due charge of the situation I was in. That's external locus of control. How is this related to self-esteem? Now, people with a low self-esteem generally tend to have an internal locus of control in all the negative situations. For instance, I scored less. Yes, I scored less because I didn't work hard, because I am not capable of doing anything, because I am not good enough. I don't think I will ever score well. Now, this is when taking charge of situations that you are in and taking responsibility for your actions is one thing. But the minute you cross the line and you be too hard on yourself, that is when you're moving towards a low self-esteem, you are moving towards being more passive. Eventually, you will be very withdrawn and aloof. That is internal locus of control. How that leads to your low self-esteem. On vice versa would be, say, if you have a low self-esteem and there is something good that happened, you will never take full credit for it. You will probably you'll probably say that your team was good or you were just lucky. For example, if most people who have the mindset that my career, my marriage, my work, my role or my designation or my project, whatever that I'm in right now, is doing well, not because I deserve it. It's because of pure luck. It's because of sheer luck. Well, what is luck? It's when opportunity meets preparation. You probably had something to do with it. That's how you are doing so well for yourself. So take full credit. Take responsibility of some achievements. My point here is that no matter how big or small your achievement is, celebrate it. It'll make you feel so good about yourself. That is one step, you are a step closer, another milestone ahead towards building a healthy and a positive self-esteem. People with a low self-esteem, their first response to any situation or a new challenge or a new task would be, I can't. They probably want to wipe their hands off and back off and say that, no, I'm not capable of doing this. That's a major reaction. I wouldn't say response. That's how students react. People with a low self-esteem, they would react to a new situation or a challenge like this. That is something we wish to overcome. So self-esteem, if I try and look at it again, self-esteem is the feeling of being capable, but also feeling loved. I'll give you an example. Say for instance, a child is very proud of his or her achievements, is very confident in his or her abilities, but is not appreciated for his achievements at home by his parents or by his loved ones, will eventually build a low self-esteem, will eventually start belittling himself or herself, and would develop a low self-esteem. Vice versa will also be true. Say a child is loved at home, is appreciated at home, is getting all the attention from his near and dear ones. However, he is very underconfident in his or her abilities, will again gradually have a low self-esteem. So for a healthy self-esteem, it is very important that a good balance between the two is maintained. That is, your sense of capabilities, your sense of feeling capable to do a certain task, be in a certain situation, handle yourself in different situations, face new challenges, take on new tasks, get out of your comfort zone. Also, feeling loved or being appreciated by your near and dear ones. Obviously, if people who are of importance to us do not really appreciate us or constantly put us down, it will hamper our self-esteem. Now, kids with a high self-esteem, they tend to have a very optimistic approach. They tend to, unlike kids with a low self-esteem, they tend to be very vocal about things that they are not satisfied with. On the other hand, a child with a low self-esteem will display very low tolerance, will get frustrated easily, will get angry easily. We've discussed this earlier. They might blame themselves for anything and everything. They tend to use terminologies which constantly puts them down. For example, if a child is incapable of doing a certain task, or is having a difficulty in doing a certain task, or is slightly lagging behind than other counterparts in the class, he's more likely to use terms like, he or she is more likely to use terms like, I am stupid, or I am no good at doing this, or what's the point? Nobody cares about me. So they generally look at temporary setbacks as permanent failures, and a sense of pessimism prevails. This will eventually, in the long run, will also, once they grow up to be adults with a low self-esteem, this will definitely seriously impair their workplace, their relationships, friendships, romantic relationships. It will tend to hamper and interfere with on their personal and professional front. Now, on the other hand, if a child has a healthy self-esteem, even though a child is unable to do a certain task or is having difficulty in doing something, considering that the child is well aware of what his or her strengths and weaknesses are, they would use a different terminology to voice their dissatisfaction without belittling themselves or others in that situation. For example, a child might say that instead of saying, I'm an idiot, or I'm stupid, or I don't understand this and I can't do this, or I don't wish to do this at all, a child might say, I do not understand this. Can you please explain? Instead of saying, I'm no good. So even in the basic terminologies that they use, they are at the subconscious level, they are giving themselves a negative or a positive affirmation. That is very important. So if a child is constantly giving him or herself a negative affirmation, chances are that their self-esteem would go down. It will hamper in building a positive and a healthy one. On the other hand, if a child constantly gives himself a positive affirmation and is vocal about the dissatisfaction that he is facing, is vocal about the problems and the challenges that he is facing, will get it rectified on the spot and will be able to take on the task much more easily and simpler than their other counterparts. They're very good when it comes to problem solving, when it comes to decision making. They like to go out of their comfort zone. Such students, such people will also be very active in a social situation. They would like to interact with others. Also, they would equally enjoy working in a team or taking up independent pursuits in the classroom or at work. Now, why is it important to have a healthy self-esteem, and how can you generally establish or foster a proper healthy self-esteem? See, a healthy self-esteem, how can I have one? How the first step towards, we discussed this earlier, the first step towards building a positive and a healthy self-esteem is that I wish to have one. I wish to change the way I look at myself. Now, how do what are the things that can act as a springboard for me to bounce back from a low self-esteem to a positive one? Say, for instance, I get involved in community activities, or I get involved in activities, group activities, which are which encourage more cooperation than having a very strict competition. That would certainly foster a positive or a healthy self-esteem. For example, you have the mentoring programs in academia. You also have your elder siblings or older students doing hand-holding for the younger students. They teach them how to read, how to write. These activities works wonders for both. Even though the older ones are doing hand-holding for the younger students, or there is a mentor doing a hand-holding for a mentee, it is a feel-good factor for them both. They both feel that they've added value, and the younger one or the mentee feels that they've gained something in the process. This inculcates cooperation, it inculcates teamwork, it inculcates some sense of achievement, and this is how a sense of optimism prevails, and it helps them eventually in building a healthy and a positive self-esteem. It helps them in having a more positive outlook and an attitude towards themselves. That is healthy self-esteem. If it's but essential to have a healthy self-esteem, because if you don't have one, eventually it will impair your job performance or your academic performance. It might also lead to a lot of substance abuse. Students or people with a low self-esteem might engage in drug or alcohol abuse, which can lead to, in the long run, it will lead to very unproductive or even destructive behavior. When I say destructive behavior, I mean self-destructive behavior as well. So in order to deal with these issues, it is very important that we nip it in the bud. We need to start working on building a positive self-esteem from the very beginning. So eventually when we move into adulthood, we do have a positive outlook about ourselves, towards life, and there will be a sense of a sense of optimism that will prevail. That, my friends, is but essential. What is important is how you look at yourself. That's important. That's a first step towards building a healthy and a positive self-esteem.